Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the fifth grade concept of multiplying decimals. This is standard 5.3e in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 16 of the 2025 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we've got Charlie baking 10.5 batches of muffins, and each batch uses 1.5 cups. So how many total cups does Charlie use? Well, we can actually draw a strip diagram here. So I've got an unknown total, right? That's what I'm looking for. How many total cups? And we can draw it like this. All right, so I'm going to try to draw 10 cups here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it in half there, and then I'm going to cut each half into fourths. So that's into fifths with 4 lines. And then that's another 4 lines. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I want to get a little bit of a half cup at the end. I left myself a little bit of space. So this would be 1.5, 1.5 all the way down. And then for our very last one, that little half cup, it's not a full 1.5, it's half of 1.5. So I'll put that right there. Half of 1.5. So that's our strip diagram to represent that. So I've got 10.5 cups of 1.5. And so we've got a few options here, right? We can first figure out what is this 10 cups. We can break it up into chunks. We can do 10 times 1.5. And then we could just add that half of the 1.5 that's left. That's one option. All right, so what happens when we multiply by 10? Well, when we multiply 10, everything shifts over into place value. So if we were to look at our place value chart here, right, and this would be our tens place, our ones place, our tenths place. If we had it, hundredths place, we could put a 1.5. What happens when we multiply by 10 is everything gets shifted over one place value. So this 1 becomes 110. The 5 tenths become 5 ones, and then we don't have anything else. Another way to look at it is if you take a decimal, if it's there, you move it over once to the right, because we have 1, 0, and 10. If we multiply by 100, it would shift over 2 places, and the decimal will go over 2 spots to the right. So this is 15. Then I just need to think half of 1.5. Well, if I think of 1.5 as 1.50, think of it in money terms. What's half of $1.50? Well, most of us can, if we think in quarters, right? That's 6 quarters. So what's half of 6 quarters? 3 quarters. So that's going to equal 75 cents. If you take $1.50, cut it in half, you got 75 cents. So we could look at this $15, add the 0.75 if we want to think about it in money, 75 cents, and you get your 15.75. Now that's kind of a long way to do it. We could just multiply, right? So it would end up being a 3 by 2, but we can multiply the 1.5 times the 1.5. We end up ignoring the decimals. We treat it like 105 times 15 is what we do. So let's multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 0 is 0. Add that 2, and then 5 times 1. Now on the second row, we add a 0 because we're going to start in that second place. And now we just write down 105 because it's multiplying by 1. Just make sure everything is lined up correctly. And now let's add. That's a 7, that's a 5, that's a 1. Now what we need to remember is the decimal has to go somewhere. I've got 2 digits behind the decimal in my factors. So I need 2 digits behind the decimal in my product. You see we get our same answer. We could also estimate, right? 10.5 times 1.5. And so we can take the full 10.5, and then about half of 10.5 is going to be about 5. So it's going to be about that 15.5. And this is the closest one that's anywhere near it. So our answer here is C.